What's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro Duel video. X-Sabers, it has been like a couple of years, ever since 2010ish, if I'm not mistaken, that this deck was super relevant, if not the best deck, at least one of the best decks back then, next to plant and debris, at least debris plants, indeed. But you know, Link format and Rescue Cat is back to 3 here in the TCG. It got an errata, but the errata is not really too relevant. Okay, the monsters special summoned off of Rescue Cat are negated, but yeah, your Dark Soul will still trigger post, you know, the pre-errata ruling, so you can only activate one same Dark Soul once during the end phase. Link format, so triple GoFu in the main deck. GoFu, at least both GoFu and Instant Fusion are, I think, excellent additions to this deck to give it, you know, more first turn plays and more follow-up plays. Definitely in the case of Instant Fusion, possibly go for something like Omega, or you know, Beelze, especially with GoFu, that is, not with Instant Fusion, but any level 3, like for example your Dark Soul will result in like a level 8 Synchro play. Triple Scapegoat, triple Instant Fusion. Pretty much, I think, one of the best generic support cards going into Link format. You know, Scapegoat can instantly go for Link Spider. Or, yeah, you know, for Mrs. Radiant, you don't need Link Spider with Scapegoat, but you know, you have to, at least if you want to go for Mrs. Radiant, if you have GoFu, you need those Link Spiders in your extra deck. The Heavy Duster Storm, I believe its name is at 3 here in the main deck. You want to get rid of your opponent's back row for most obvious reasons. Okay, you do have Hyunlei, but still Hyunlei into Solemn Strike doesn't do anything right. The deck is currently sitting at 42 cards, but feel free to drop it down to 40 by maybe dropping GoFu, maybe a Heavy Duster Storm or Storm Duster. Not really sure about the correct TCG name, and of course one Desires. But again, 42 cards somewhat justifies triple Desires. It's somewhat different compared to, like, you know, the builds from 2010. No full Helm Knight, only one Boggart Knight. Yeah, it's just new format, Link format. The cards aren't really, I believe, not really too great anymore, and it's just something like Boggart Knight. Okay, you can always search it out with your Dark Soul during the end phase to, you know, get the extra summon next turn, possibly go for a Link summon. Ember's Blade is still very, very crucial again to suicide crash into your opponent's monster and, yeah, you know, set up that Gotham's emergency call eventually. Last but not least, before I start a couple of replays, is I also tried out, you know, Rescue Rabbit as well, the Rescue Ferret with the new spell card that searches out the rescue monsters, but that didn't really work out too well. You could opt to like tag one Rescue Ferret, but running Rescue Rabbits, you need to add those normals to the main deck, and you know, those are pretty much like Gem Knight Garnet, right? So not that useful in the main deck. Okay, let's see a couple of example duels. Alright, a couple of example games played this against meta, so pretty much I believe the first couple of games are against Invoked, a couple of games against True Dracos as well, and I believe there should be like a dinosaur matchup in here also. I got to start, which is fine. I mean, still the biggest weakness of this deck is going, at least summoning into back row, right? Okay, if your opponent has like 2 or 3 back row, that just screams to go for Hyunlei and pop up to 3 back rows, but you know, the power of Hyunlei is not the same compared to 2010. You know, 2010 destroying all of your opponent's back rows was of course much better if they didn't have Solemn Warning. I believe it was released, I'm not really sure, also like, yeah, 2010, 2011, again if I'm not mistaken. Gotham's Emergency Call, excellent, that's why I still prefer running multiple Ember's Blade, you know, suicide or crash into your opponent's monsters, and then depending on their field or, yeah, how you want to end, right, you can possibly go for Trishula, definitely a solid play I believe, but that end phase Cyclone wins him the game here, definitely. He's able to, you know, banish the face down Solemn Strike, otherwise I would have been able to strike the his summon, the Alistair, and no search. Yeah, I should have had the game then, but you know, that's how it is. Again, another duel, I get to start GoFu. Go for a 3 in the main deck might be a bit too much, but then again, it's just super, well, important, but of course good card here in the deck. It opens up your 2 extra monster zones thanks to Mrs. Radiant. Then again, you need some extra deck space for, you know, those Link Spiders, etc. So that's somewhat of the downside of GoFu, but at the same time, GoFu also opens up the possibility to, you know, go for Omega or go for Beelze. And, you know, Beelze currently sitting at like $50 or $60, and that's like too much for a Beelze. But still, definitely one of the better synchros going into this format, right? Here I'm able to go for a game. Okay, that's all good, fine and dandy. Another duel, he gets to start this time, and this is actually a good opening hand. If I start this hand, would have been very clutch. You know, normal summon Cat, get to search a synchro summon and set the Gothams. Okay, that's, you know, Hyunlei, and then reborn your Dark Soul, etc, etc. So that would have been very nice, but and that's something that definitely one of this deck's most disadvantages, I believe, is, you know, Ghost Ash or Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom just stops pretty much everything, including the Rescue Cat, and you see here both his sets are double strike, so he's able to negate the second summon or the second effect of the second Rescue Cat indeed. And this hand, you'll see that during my draw phase I draw Full Troll as well, so wow, this is absolutely busted, but nope. Rescue Cat cannot resolve her effect, so both Gotham's Emergency Call are dead, not live, and yeah, the Full Troll in hand is also not live. Otherwise, one Rescue Cat, and I would have pumped out a very nice solid field, but again, that's how it goes, right? I still prefer running something like Heavy Duster Storm. A Storm Duster, I believe the name is. Twin Twister, I don't like the discard cost, but yeah, to each their own. Here, okay, I get to start at this point, at least this time of testing, I will still main decking Eater of Millions also in the main deck. It's definitely something you could main deck as well. Generic answers or generic cards to, you know, big boss monsters from your opponent, but he got so much advantage here, and eventually, thanks to another normal summon, he's able to get Masterpiece on board, unaffected by monster effect and spells, I believe, and that's GG, it's game over. Eater of Millions is not going to save me. Emmer's Blade is going to get destroyed by the Masterpiece. Yeah, Eater of Millions doesn't matter, right? His Masterpiece was, I believe, unaffected by monster effect, and he is Maccabi indeed. So that's game over, GG right there. Bit unfortunate, but again, that's how it goes. Another duel I get to start, normal summon. The Dark Soul and Transmodify. It's like a nice deck to instantly search out your Rescue Cats and, you know, off of Desires. Okay, all fine and dandy, it all goes fine. Go for Omega. Omega is, again, at least equals 1 card less for your opponent to use. And here, in hindsight, after now watching the replays, I definitely should have kept the Gothams on the field, right? Since now at this point, if the opponent has something to, you know, any true Draco spell that he can send to the grave to, like, summon the wind or summon Ignis Heat, I'm going to lose my Gotham's Call without any possibility to activate it. So just keep your X-Saber on the field to make your Gotham's Emergency Call live. But it all works out fine. Double Brick, I believe his set card here is a Spellbook of Knowledge, but that's how it is. Last game against Dinosaurs, I get to start. Again, opening GoFu is so good. Double Mrs. at least, yeah, double Link Spider into Mrs. Radiant. Normal summon one of level 3's best case scenario. It's like a Dark Soul to, you know, go for Omega, or if you have like a true Draco matchup, go for Beelze. Omega ripping 1 card from the opponent's hand, and that's all good. Definitely going to strike the Oviraptor. Don't want him letting search something like maybe a baby Saurus. Okay, I'm going to lose Mrs. Radiant. I get something back from the grave. It's not really too crucial due to Emmer's Blade in the hand. In any situation, I would have been forced to, you know, again, crash into his dinosaurs to, you know, into his dinosaur to make my Gotham's emergency call live. But this is definitely one of the advantages. Again, triple huge Call of the Haunted and double Air Bellums will deal some nice damage to rip him from 2 cards, and the Omega also from another card. But again, easy GG this time. But his opening hand, well, yeah, it was just because of Strike, right? That's how it is with dinosaurs. If you can negate the Oviraptor from searching either to Strike or Ash Blossom, you should win that against dinosaurs. And now I should be able to attack for a game. So again, this is currently my list. Like always, feel free to leave suggestions. 42 cards, but again, as I said, feel free to drop it down to 40, drop 1 Desires, and if you want maybe a Kofu, maybe the Spell and Trap Destruction. I like Anti-Spell in the main deck, definitely something against like Pendulum Magicians, solid against those, and you know your opponent has to set the card, so Hyunlei definitely come in, or at least can definitely bust your opponent if it can pop those back rows under an Anti-Spell Fragrance. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.